Hi, common units of measurements. In Nigeria, when blood sugar is measured, it is measured with millimole per liter. In the US, when it is measured, it's measured with milligram per deciliter. So you see there is a difference there. Now, that's what I want to point out with this video. There are some measurements that are common to nurses that are different from what we know it back home. Now, I'm going to point out 5 of them, but before I do that, I want to state that these differences find roots in the kind of measurement that country adopted. Now, there is the metric system and there is the imperial system. The metric system is the same as the SI system, that's International System Unit of Measurement. So now the metric system, the basic units in the metric system is meter, gram, and seconds, while the imperial system uses inches, ounces, feet, pounds, cups, gallons, miles, and tons. So while in Nigeria we say kilometer for distance, they say miles in the US for distance. So you see there is a difference in these countries. So thankfully, most of the world uses the metric system. That's UK, Australia, Canada, Nigeria, African countries. I think it's just Liberia that uses the imperial system alongside the United States. I'm pretty sure maybe a few other countries, but most of the world use the metric system, which is a good thing. So let me dive in. These units I'm going to talk about, some of them are not necessarily under any of this system, but I'm pointing them out because they are different from what we are used to. Number one is Celsius. Celsius for measuring temperature. We use Celsius in Nigeria. I'm pretty sure that's what they use in the UK, Canada, and they also use it in the US, but they use both Celsius and Fahrenheit. So you should know that it's not just, and when they are conversing, though on paper they might write Fahrenheit, but when you are talking to maybe doctors or other nurses, you see that they are more tilted toward the Fahrenheit. So just know, thankfully there are calculators online that can easily calculate the differences for you, or the units, moving from Celsius to Fahrenheit or Fahrenheit to Celsius. And also in the electronic medical record of the software now that you use to work in the hospitals, they have built-in calculators that can change these units as well. So that's a good thing. But it's also good to know that these differences exist. Number 2, I already mentioned it, milligram per deciliter and millimole per liter. So Nigeria, we use millimole per liter, UK, millimole per liter, Canada, Australia, millimole per liter. Again, there are calculators that will help convert it. But if you maybe don't have access to a calculator, what you should do is, for millimole, if you want to move from millimole per liter to milligram per deciliter, you multiply by 18. And if you want to move from milligram per deciliter to millimole per liter, you divide by 18. It will give you the number you're looking for. Number 3, ounces. Ounces is a way of measuring fluids or liquids, if you will. So while we are familiar with mLs, they use ounces here in the United States. They use mLs in Canada, UK, Australia. They also use mLs here, and they usually call it cc's. But you find sometimes if they are giving instructions, they'll say use so number of ounces, and if you are not familiar with it, it's kind of confusing. So just know that they use ounces here, and you can convert from ounces to mLs. 1 ounce is equals to 30 mLs. So that's how you convert it, the mLs or cc's. And this is how they write the ounce: oz as in oz. So that's it for ounces. Then pounds. Pounds is a measurement of weight. while they use kg here just like we do back home, but the ounces, once again, I mean the pounds keep coming up. If maybe you're talking to a doctor or a fellow nurse or a CNA goes to measure your patient's weight, they will come back and tell you it's so pounds. And if you are not used to it, it's kind of confusing. So 1 kg is equals to 2.2 pounds. Again, there are calculators that can help you to convert that. Number 5 is feet or inches versus centimeters. We are used to measuring height with centimeters, while they use it to measure, they use feet and inches to measure centimeters. Now, 1 foot is 12 inches. 1 foot or 12 inches is 30 centimeters. So that's how to, that's the differences between the units. Then another thing I want to quickly mention is unit of blood and pint of blood. We say pint of blood. Sometimes you hear them say unit, but what I've come to discover is that when they say unit, they are referring to packed red blood cells. So not the whole blood, packed red blood cells. And 1 unit is usually between 300 ml to 355 ml. So if you need to know the volume of blood you are giving your patient, it differs. The best thing you should do is look at the bag. They usually write it on the blood bag. Then pints, when they are talking about pints, they are referring to the whole blood. That's plasma, red blood cells, white blood cell, platelets, the whole thing. So usually that is also different in different places. For the US, you find that 1 pint is 473 ml. In UK and Ireland, 568. Sometimes it's even still different. So once again, if you want to know the volume of what you are giving your patient, you check the bag. They usually label it on the bag. Thanks for listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow for more.